Yes, welcome to News in Nigeria TV, and it's another breaking news. After the day three of the national protest that is going on in Nigeria, there are some new interesting developments that we just seen coming from the northern region of the country. Earlier today in Kano State, it was reported that so many protesters were seen waving the Russian flag. Like, for real? What's it supposed to mean? Yes, don't forget that the Northerners share the border with Niger Republic, and they have so many characteristics that they share together. And of course, I think the Northerners have seen the need that the current president, Tinubu, why he is not to be trusted. Don't forget, Tinubu has been trying to convince so many of the West African nations that have evicted the ECOWAS. He has been trying to speak to them to come back to the ECOWAS, but they said no. And those countries like Burkina Faso, like Mali, Niger, ever since they left, they have now become the fastest growing economy in the world. There's a report according to the statistics saying that Burkina Faso and Niger Republic are the fastest growing economy in the world. You know, and don't forget, these were the issues when the democratic leaders in Niger and Mali, they were all corrupt, corrupt persons, and at the end of the day, we saw how Russia, integrated himself into the economy of those states, and today they have been taken over by military coups. So could it be a signal? Could it be a situation whereby Nigeria wants to go back to the era of being ruled by military? Don't forget, when Nigeria was being ruled by the military, the Russians were one of our major allies. In fact, the Ajaokuta steel mill that we have in Kogi State was, virtually built from ground up, was built with Russian technology, and this is why till today it has not been functional. So could it be an indictment on democracy in West Africa as a whole? Because what I am sensing is maybe Russia is doing everything possible to cut off the Western presence in West Africa. Because if they have successfully taken over Nigeria, let me tell you, other West African countries will follow easily. Cote d'Ivoire will follow. What's it called? Sierra Leone will follow. It's as simple as that. Senegal will follow. They might not necessarily be toppled by military, but they will just easily align with Russia. Because those remaining countries today, I think they still look up to Nigeria, who so far is presenting himself as the West African giant, giant in what, if you ask me? Is it giant in corruption, or is it giant in, retrogression? Nigeria, which should be ashamed of itself in the last 25 uninterrupted democracy, does not even have constant electricity. Very sad. So I think these Russian flags that have been, waved in Kano State says a lot. It sends a very sharp signal. A little surprised, we are hearing that the president now wants to address the Nigerian people tomorrow. I think he's not being scared. He doesn't give a damn about the Nigerian people, but he's so particular about his own international, image. Not about the Nigerian people, to help with the Nigerian people. This was the man who once said to the international communities, and during the election period, he said he wasn't going to ever care about climate change. Don't forget that he said that nobody should blame a church rat if it consumes, a poison Holy Communion. We virtually know what that means. It means that when a country is poor, like Nigeria, you can't tell them not to go into coal combustion for energy production. You cannot tell them to go into coal production for power electricity production. You cannot tell them to do all these things, because these are what those countries that are now supposed, first world countries, this is how they all developed. But today, we can see Tinubu is in fact, the contingent he took to the climate change seminar that they held in Dubai, he had the largest amongst all the countries. We can see he has appointed Ajuri Ngelali, the spokesperson. He has appointed him as the, I think as a lead person, or the director general of that climate change issue. So this is a man who has told us that he wants to do A, and today he's doing something else. So I think the Northerners have seen him through and through, and now they are saying, Bama, we are tired, we are doing no more. And of course, I think they are ready to follow the queue, the path that their fellow, Sahel brothers, the Burkinabe, the Nigerian, and the Malians they are trailing. Perhaps the elders there, because it is surprising to me, like, how did the Russian flag get into the Nigerian territory, and who is telling them this narrative? Don't forget that the Burkina babes have become stronger ever since they have the military guy take over, Ibrahim Traore, the 35-year-old guy. Don't forget the Ibrahim Traore guy is the one actually leading I think the African Sahel, whatever the AES. He is the one leading that group. And these guys have been fighting jihadists, the terrorists. They've been fighting them head on. 2 days ago, we saw what Burkina Faso did, whereby he deployed the Russian drones. These are the drones they gave to them. They've been able to, annihilate over hundreds of bandits who were illegally mining their gold. Surprisingly, there were so many Nigerians amongst those illegal miners. And the Burkina babes don't even give a damn. They don't give a damn. So, could this be that maybe in the next few days or months or thereabout, the Russians are trying to penetrate into the Nigerian system? Don't forget, today Nigeria is trying to be a major ally to the G7. We're trying to be an ally to the UK, the Western world, Western powers, but the Western powers have not favored us. And but we see how the Russia always helps his own, allies. The way we've seen how he gives them technological know-how. We see how Russia even gives them security, armories. We see how Russia do all these things. Yes, there's nothing free, even in Freetown. We know that Russia, of course, has its own agenda, by the way. Of course, that's the world, that's how the country, this is how the world rolls. Nothing goes for nothing. So if you think people will give you something for free, do you think the climate change funds, all this IMF money, they don't come for free? The climate change issue that the Western worlds are pushing, that narrative is to ensure that the African people do not adopt industrialization by using cheap power resources. So they'll tell you, use solar panels, use water waves, use hydropower. All these things are good, but they are not the cheapest. Imagine Nigeria that has one of the largest coal deposits in West Africa, even if not in Africa, but they are telling us not to use it, something that we will just mine for free. They're telling us to start importing solar panels. Have they taught us how to build solar panels? Of course, they will not tell us. We have to import it. So they'll give us money. We import from China. We import from Germany. Yeah, look at what they are doing. They're just playing us. They are playing on our senses. So fortunately, we don't have leaders that have that foresight. We have not had leaders that have that common sense. So I think Russia is they're trying to play a smart one on Tinubu. Maybe perhaps that's why Tinubu wants to speak tomorrow. Who knows? Well, thank you for joining. Do subscribe, like, and share. Bye for now.